Welcome to Shiny New Clients, the marketing podcast that helps you attract shiny new clients to your business. We'll talk about social media, what makes people buy, how to go viral, and marketing psychology, all in 20 minutes or less. Whether you're a coach, a stylist, or a wedding planner, if you've got a service-based business to sell, this is the show you need to fill your calendar. I'm Jenna Warriner, your new marketing coach, and this is Shiny New Clients. What would it feel like to make 10 sales in your business tomorrow? What would it feel like to make 20? What's your income goal, and how many clients do you have to hit that goal? If we're going to be talking about how to grow your social media followers, and more specifically in today's episode, I'm going to tell you the exact TikTok strategy that I used to reach 40,000 followers, then I think it's important to recognize that you don't need 40,000 followers to make sales for your business. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jenna. I help service-based business owners get clients directly from their content. I can proudly say that I've now helped hundreds of small business owners grow their business and grow their client roster directly from their content. So I know that you can get clients from the following that you have now, even if that following is a number that you deem small. I feel like this analogy is getting kind of old, but if you were standing there in front of a room of 200 people, do you think at least one of those people would be your ideal client? And if not, if you're like, Jenna, my business is super, super niche, I bet there isn't, then maybe do one of those 200 people know someone who is your ideal client and be willing to give you that referral if you asked for it? Listen, don't argue with me. I know that you can grow your business. I just need you to know. All right, let's get into the strategy that I've been using on TikTok. I had to actually look back and say, well, what strategy did I use? Because for my clients on Instagram, we are super formulaic. Like inside Magic Marketing Machine and the retainer clients where we manage their social media, we're super strategic and super formulaic, but we don't manage TikTok accounts. And when I jumped on a TikTok, I was just there to have fun. Like I just liked it and it was low risk for me. So I was like, okay, well, let's just try this thing out. I think my first video was a macrame tutorial that I did. It was right around that time when that audio went viral because we were all locked down in our houses, and that audio that was like, okay, I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house bored. I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house bored. And that was truly me. And I started watching so much TikTok until my now husband was like, hey, Jenna, maybe you're watching a little bit too much of that, because I would stay up all night scrolling and just watching TikTok for hours and hours, and it was getting out of control. And so I was like, yeah, you're right. I have an issue here. I'm watching way too much of this. So I put a child lock on my account that meant that I could only spend an hour a day on the app before the app would close itself. And the only way to open it again was to put in a passcode. And I just closed my eyes and typed the passcode and I didn't know what it was. So I only had an hour a day. And then I started making videos to do with marketing and social media. And I was like, oh, wait. I shouldn't just be using this for macrame and kayaking videos. I should use this for work. So I started playing with it and I started experimenting and I started making content. Right around that time, all of the TikTok experts were saying that what you had to do was make 3 videos a day in order to blow up your account and go viral. So I was like, all right, I'll try that. What else do I have to do right now? We're in lockdown. The problem was I still love watching content. And so if I was going to make 3 videos a day, I had to do it so quickly so that I still had time allowed on the app to watch videos. So I started making 3 videos a day in 30 minutes so that I would still have 30 minutes to get my guilty pleasure in. And if you want to know the best tip for getting good and fast at making content and releasing perfectionism and learning how to edit, it's to give yourself a deadline and a quota like that, because that really worked for me. Also, on TikTok, people don't know you. Instagram, usually it's you're starting with your friends and family and colleagues in your network. And on TikTok, it's strangers. When you bump into
a friend on TikTok, it's like that feeling when you're at the carnival and you bump into a friend. You're like, oh my God, what are you doing here? Like, that's what it feels like. So the pressure was a lot lower. I started making these videos, and to this day, the videos I make are 99.9% talking head videos. On Reels and TikTok, there are a lot of videos that have no audio, and it's just like short and funny or short 7 seconds, and there's music or dancing or lip syncs where you're like saying a funny line or putting your own spin on it. Like there's a million different trends, and I didn't do that. Not for any particular reason or stance. I just liked doing what I was doing, which was teaching and talking about social media and like being kind of funny about it. I would talk to camera and tell you stuff, tell the listener stuff and teach stuff and give tips. Now, I'm already a marketer, so I have an awareness of giving you tips that lead you towards wanting more and wanting to go deeper and wanting to work with me to take actions to get results. There is certain content for every industry, for you, for everybody, where certain content is what you're going to want to share and what you're going to want to teach. And it's going to make people more likely to want to work with you without you giving away the farm. You can teach without giving away everything, but I do give away a heck of a lot over there. So I did 99.9% talking head videos, and every one of them, unless I was sleepy, starts with a hook. Always a hook, because it's very important in your first couple of seconds to grab the viewer's attention. People scroll away so quickly. I don't know if you've heard of the millennial pause. This was a trend, a call out that came out in the last couple of years. And it's other generations realizing that millennials, hi, it's me, I'm the problem, it's me, pause right after we hit record, and then our videos start with this micro pause. And I think it comes from being in an age growing up with digital cameras where like you hit record and then you always check if your camcorder is actually recording. So then we end up pausing, and other generations that grew up with like smartphones and stuff, it's different. They just tap and go, and they don't have the millennial pause. So if go back and watch your videos and see if you're like pausing or taking a big deep breath right at the beginning of the clip, because you always want to drag the clip and just edit that little bit out, because even those milliseconds are enough to lose your viewer. And so I've gotten really good at hooks, and I have all sorts of like hook formulas that I give my clients because it's very natural to me because I've done it so many times. But you got to edit out those millennial pauses. As I started to grow, I don't know when it happened, but I realized what I was doing was using TikTok for growth and Instagram for sales and my email list for sales. So TikTok is not my primary platform. I'm on there constantly. I make a lot of content on there. But the whole idea in my mind is I use that to attract people, and then we use Instagram to convert them. And I think I've talked about this on the show before. There's a few reasons for that. One of them is TikTok has horrible messaging. So if you're trying to message with a lead, it's janky. You can't send links. You can't do voice memos. It's hard to even navigate your message inbox. It's way easier to talk to someone on Instagram and then make a sale after you've talked to someone, because if they have a question, you can easily answer it. Or if they need a link to purchase, you can easily provide them the link on Instagram. The other thing is the way TikTok is set up is it's set up on the FYP, the For You page, to show you a whole bunch of content from all over the world, from all sorts of people. Awesome content. It's really good at knowing what you're into and showing you more of that. And I think that's why it's so addictive. But because of that, you're always seeing new people, new faces. You might follow someone, but not really see a lot of their content. Whereas on Instagram, if you regularly interact with someone, you're more likely to see more of their content. You know how in your Instagram feed, you're usually seeing the same people over and over again? On TikTok, you're always discovering awesome new creators, which means a couple of things strategically. It means your videos need to have a lot of context, and you need to assume you're always talking to strangers. Imagine I just popped out in front of you on the sidewalk. That would be on brand for me. So I pop out in front of you on the sidewalk. You don't even know that I'm a social media manager or a marketing coach. Like, you don't know any of that. It's just this random information. So that's kind of what it's like when you're scrolling through TikTok. You need to put context at the beginning. Hi, I'm Jenna. I'm a marketing coach, and this is what we're talking about today. Say your name, say who this video is for, use a hook that has a lot of context in it. I'll often go hook, and then I'll introduce myself, and then I'll jump into my point. All right, so, oh gosh, okay, I'm giving you so much information. I hope you're not feeling overwhelmed. I do have so many more important points, though. It's also super, super important to listen to what your audience wants you to talk about and what they want to hear about, and to also not listen at all to what your audience wants. And let me explain. The best way to create content that gets views is to figure out what your audience wants from you, what they want to learn, what their desires are, and then to keep posting content about that. And when you post something and it does well, ask yourself, why did this do well? How can I replicate that? Like, I'm saying that to program members when I teach marketing all the time. Like, let's look at the post that did well and let's figure out why. And let's just take guesses and then let's experiment. But one time I had a video go viral, and I'll tell you what happened. I met this little girl out on a beach, and she told me that she had a business. And so I asked her about it because I was like enthralled. She's like 9 years old, and she tells me that she has a business selling bracelets. And she asked me some questions, and I answered her like she was a grown-up. So maybe that's because I'm not good with kids. Maybe that's because I'm passionate about business. But anyway, I totally answered her like she was a grown-up and gave her some tips. And then one of my neighbors was standing there, and he's like a CEO, and he just nodded and smiled, and he was like, "That's good advice." Yeah, I know. So anyway, I told this story on TikTok, and it got like 500,000 views, and everyone was so invested in this little girl, and they were like, "What's her store? We'll buy from her." And like, she didn't have an online store. There was nowhere people could buy her bracelets. I wish. She would have made a lot of money. But anyway, I got so many comments of people saying, "Can you make more videos teaching our kids how to run businesses?" Like, no. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to like leave everything that I'm doing now. It was hard. I was tempted to do it. I made maybe one follow-up video, but I'm not going to change my channel's direction to be teaching kids how to have better lemonade stands. Like, that's not what I'm going to do. So anyway, you have to listen to them, but then you also have to know when to ignore them and stay the course and keep the bigger vision in mind, which is attracting clients to your business. One thing that I did that TikTok experts at the time totally recommended against was I watched whatever I wanted. A lot of experts were saying only interact with videos about your niche so that you can teach the algorithm who to show your content to. But I truly just didn't want to, because I wanted to watch ships in storms and cookie recipes and cute dogs and all the videos that I love the platform for. You have so much on your plate right now. You do so many things. And so if we're going to add something to it, like social media marketing, we need to be realistic about it. And we need to put things in place so that it becomes sustainable so you can stay consistent more easily. And one of those things is not hating your time spent on the platform. I could get into that for days, but like, mute the people you don't want to listen to, follow the people you love interacting with, protect your mental health, because that's how you're going to have a more sustained time on the platform. At one point, I hired a TikTok coach, and he actually isn't a TikTok coach anymore, or I'd plug him, but I'll tell you the biggest takeaways that I got from him. I went to him because I felt like I was kind of plateauing, and I wanted to make sure that I was doing everything right, and I'm a big fan of investing in yourself, and I spent a lot of money to work with him, and the biggest takeaways I got were experiment within your niche and experiment with different types of content, experiment with different ways of communicating your message, and experiment with different series and make series, and don't give up on your series just because one video flops. Those are my biggest takeaways. Also, it helps just to have invested in a coach like that because it gives you accountability. Like I wasn't going to pay that kind of money and then not post 15 videos that week. That's not happening. Like when somebody's watching and someone's supporting you and you have an investment on the line, you're way more likely to actually make that content, actually commit to yourself and commit to your business. And sure, I also used my hashtags, but when you start talking about intricacies like that, you're talking about tricks, and tricks are not a strategy. Tricks fade. Hashtags and hashtag strategies, that stuff changes. That's not an overall strategy. That's like adding keywords because the internet said keywords are important now. Like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about overall strategy. And the overall strategy was use TikTok for growth, create consistent content, stay true to my niche, experiment with different types of content, get really good at saying hooks, and then use Instagram as my main conversion tool. Yeah, I still got clients from TikTok. If you found me from TikTok, that's awesome. And that's the beauty of a well-oiled strategy is you're going to pick people up along the way, even if it wasn't what you had planned. All right, I hope this helps. And that's all. I'll see you in the next one.